First, let's talk about what some of the exciting enhancements we've done with 2020 R1 and the Construction Edition. Those including financial features where we've added paid amounts and line level support within the accounts payable and accounts receivable reporting for projects. We've added the ability to select a project when paying AP bills. We're going to talk a little bit later on about the enhanced workflow when you have a subcontract and a pay when paid process when you need to go in there and select which subcontracts are being paid, as well as some things we've done to enhance the adjustment workflow to subcontracts when there might incur a back charge or things that are there, as well as defaulting accounts and subaccounts now at the project and project task level. Help streamline that daily workflow of entering invoices, knowing where things need to go, and that helps out the folks with multiple divisions or departments and tracking things that way. And then we'll talk about some construction integrations, our continued relationship with the Procore product, and how we can transfer information back and forth, as well as our new CFMA Benchmarker initiative that's allowing that data exchange between Acumatica and CFMA. To highlight some of the financial features and workflow that we've added with 21 R1, I wanted to talk about a common scenario that our customers bring to us. They come to us and have multiple accounts payable bills out there for particular vendors. Now they know that there's a commitment, but they want an easy way to get in there and determine what invoices need to be reviewed and possibly paid now that they've gotten paid for their particular project. So we'll talk about a workflow around a pay when paid. And then also our customers come to us and saying, we have subcontractors that working for us, but they ended up doing faulty work, or we needed to go in and use our own team to jump in and finish a job. So they need to have an easy way to record back charges. So what I'd like to show you within the software now is how commitment is tracked within Acumatica. We'll talk about the open payables report, payment selection by job, and then some of the new debit adjustment procedures. All right, so let's take a look. All right, so let's start by looking at our Acumatica dashboard. Here I logged in, and my homepage, I have it come in looking at my project overview. I want to see what open projects I have. Maybe I'm looking and seeing where they are in relation to their budget and forecast information. But let's take the scenario today where we're looking at the commitments. I can see initially, hey, some projects have open commitments. Let me get right into that historical museum and the automotive for the flagler. Just drilling in from my dashboard takes me right into that particular project, and right on my project console I can get in and see what are those commitments. Well, for this scenario today, I just want to look at particular subcontracts. So let's go out there and say, just show me the subcontracts. I can see any historical commitment information as well as anything that's open. And then even from my project console screen, I can say, what are these guys doing for us? What's detail carpentry doing for? And I can drill right into that particular subcontract, start to see the agreements. I notice that, hey, these guys have expired compliance. Again, this might be something that you set up as a notification because you're going to get the visual warnings throughout Acumatica here within subcontracts or within the accounts payable bills. But I can also get a notification, a detail carpentry's insurance certificate has expired. Let's go ahead and kick off an email to detail carpentry, get that updated documentation, and pull that right in. In this case, I notice their particular contract agreement. I start to look at those details. So I have easy visibility into those commitments. But if you think of that flip side of I have these open commitments, I have invoices from these particular subcontractors. Now I'm getting paid for the work I'm doing at the Historical Society, at this automotive museum itself. So now I want to go ahead and pay those open invoices that I might have related to this particular project, and maybe even tie that notification back to a particular revenue budget line that now I've gotten paid off of. Because as you're doing it, think of the payables, it goes back to a particular task. Now I can go back and identify that task got paid. Let me go and see it. So within 2021 R1, what we've done is added a couple of things and enhanced some things. So if I go back and I want to see what are all those open AP invoices that I might have for that particular project. And I want to go in, I got paid. Now tell me what my outstanding payables information is. Well, I can get into the open documents by project. In this case, I'll just say, show me the ones for that particular automotive project, a museum project. And now I can quickly see all the open accounts payable bills. And this gives me all that information at that particular project and then vendor level and those open invoices. Again, if I want to drill in, I certainly can. But now that I've gotten paid, I want to see these and now start to make those payments or process those payments. So what we also added with 21R1 is in the prepare payment function. So again, taking that same scenario, now you've gotten paid. Now you want to go out and identify which subcontract should be paid. Let's take off the date representation. So I have all my open payables, but let me narrow those down to that particular project. And now I can see, well, what invoices are out there for that project. Now I can start to make that selection. We got paid for the painting and the tiles and maybe the initial door and glass. Whether I pick everything or just partial. Now bringing those in. A couple of things. Now on mine, you don't see a flag, but we'll let you know because we have the pay by line. You can have multiple projects on an accounts payable bill. We'll let you know visually when there's multiple projects on an individual AP bill. Otherwise, I come through. I could simply say, take those. Now I want to pay those and go ahead and process that accounts payable check and keep that workflow going. So again, simple from open AP, by project, see those invoices, start to manage those invoices and tie those into that commitment, and now make that particular payment against those particular invoices and those vendors. Keeping with that subcontract story, well, maybe I'm coming in and now, East-West Landscaping has some open subcontracts and open activity with us. Using my nice little search window, I can find all the activity I have with East-West Landscaping. I can look at that particular agreement, but I also notice that there is an accounts payable bill out there that they've sent us regarding the particular activity that they're doing or the landscaping work. Well, you know what? I had to go in, and now my own people have to go through and repair, maybe reseed some things because the work wasn't up to par from East West. The customer came back and said, "Hey, can you do these? We need to do that information." Well, at 21R1, what we've also added now is the ability, if I go in and want to simply go in and produce a debit adjustment now to that particular subcontract agreement or in payables in general, because as far as I know, that agreement was all tied together. So let's look at Flagler, that same project. And in this case, I'm just going to call it a back charge. So as we're looking at it, back charge for reseeding and ornamental flowers. Okay, so what I can do now with 21R1 is take that subcontract. So I have my East-West Landscape. I need to add the subcontract that's going to apply against. Brings up, hey, this is your existing one. Now I want to apply that particular debit adjustment, in this case, $1,000 adjustment against that individual subcontract. Go ahead, remove that, release it. And if I go back and look at the particular subcontract, it's going to go from the $10,000 agreement back down to $9,000 because we now back charged and debited adjusted that particular contract. So something we've added with 21R1 is the ability to add that subcontract right into the debit adjustment and start to see the history behind that particular agreement. So if I were to call up that subcontract agreement, now we see there's an open balance. We can look at that history. We can see their initial invoice and the debit adjustment. Okay, so all good workflow items, helping folks out with the accounts payable process in this case, dealing with subcontracts, getting those compliance items, getting those payments made, and being able to adjust the contract amounts. Okay, now that we've seen some things that we've added to accounts payable and the subcontract workflow, let's talk about some things that we've done to enhance the ease of use and just the daily entries that people are having to do as they post transactions in Acumatica. And this particular scenario, it goes with the companies that have multiple divisions. Maybe there's a construction and field service company, and they have a commercial or healthcare industrial arm of their business. And with that, they need to break out the general ledger, and they want to utilize different sales accounts and cost accounts tied to those particular projects or even the project tasks. And we've added some things to simplify entries within the project billing, the time activities, project allocations, expense claims by adding new fields to the project and project task entries to allow for individualized sales and cost accounts as well as sales and cost subaccounts. All right, so what I want to show you now is what we've done to help customers apply individual income and expense accounts to the project. Again, there's a multi-divisional or multi-GL account setting there itself. So as we're looking at it, in this case, you see the Flagler project again. On the settings tab, we've added additional sales and cost count. So before it used to just be one default account, typically used for the income side of the transaction. Well, we've broken that out into sales and cost accounts and sub accounts. And that not only can be applied at the overall project level, but we can get in and identify it at the particular task level. In this case, for my mechanical, breaking out my mechanical sales and my mechanical costs to a separate general ledger account. That way, when I'm doing things like running project billing and now looking at the pro forma that gets generated for this month's billing, I see what things are coming in. I notice I got mechanical and electrical activity. Well, those are going to the accounts as it relates to that particular task. So my default for the project is account 40,000, and I got 4210 for mechanical and 4230 for electrical, and bringing up that sales account right there from the task. Well, along the same lines from the income, as we're looking at that particular expense and what things might be coming together, well, we've done the same thing within the accounts payable and some other areas related to expenses. Okay, so let's look. I know that we've done some things with Plumbing Works lately. They've invoiced us. So let's go back and look at that accounts payable bill from Plumbing Works against that particular project again, the Flagler Historical Society. Well, they needed to repair the main water feed out in the lobby. Well, as I enter that payables transaction and it ties over to that particular project task and cost code, you'll notice it's bringing in the expense account assigned to that task. Now it's coming in saying, let me expense that to service mechanical other. Again, overriding and taking that hierarchy from the default value of the project to the project task. And if those aren't there, taking the normal system hierarchy that it's going to use for the general ledger. And some simple things that we've added with 21R1 to help that usability for the data entry and folks not having to remember to switch the account if it goes to a different division. Now being able to set that up at the individual project and project task levels. Okay, now that we've seen some things that we've done to help user workflow and day-to-day entry operations and easing that workflow process for customers, let's talk about what we've added on the construction and integration front. With our relationship with the CFMA, the Construction Financial Management Association, people were coming to us and saying they want to know how they compare to their peers. So with that benchmarker integration, now we're doing an automated data exchange between Acumatica and the CFMA Benchmarker tool, which lets companies compare financial data against the CFMA's compiled industry financial data. So every year the survey comes out, folks respond to it, and now our customers can utilize the benefit of the financial benchmarker tool by looking at peer group comparison reports, see how they rank among similar industry peers, whether that be regional, revenue size, what makes companies best in class. And then as we continue on with integrations with Procore and how do people use a third-party project management tool like Procore, well, we've added the bidirectional workflow and synchronization to many different areas inside of Acumatica. We've increased the ability to schedule that synchronization and how now people can get in and see the details of what synchronize between the two products. So we continue down that front with integrations and building them nice partnerships within Acumatica and those vendors. I hope you like what you see.